Good morning, ladies and gents, boys and girls, dudes and dudettes. It's 10 o'clock in the morning on Wednesday, the 14th of December. The build up to Christmas has begun. Absolutely. And we are talking all things FPL, fantasy, Premier League. We are game week 14, aren't we? Midweek. It did catch you by surprise a couple of days ago, but I remembered to do my team before yesterday's deadline. Yes, I did at 6 o'clock. I think 6:30, wasn't it, yesterday? So I did manage to do that, and I made some changes. Without any further ado, let me share my screen so you guys can see exactly what was occurring, see exactly what happened. So obviously, I've been looking at bits and bobs, but I did some strange things, a bit out of the ordinary for me. As you can see, my last few weeks have been okay in terms of points. Got a good points tally last week as well, with 82 in the last game week, so did well. But this week I've decided to mix it up a little bit, and it might backfire, it might not. The first thing I did is the goalkeeping decision. I believe, although clearly I'm potentially wrong with this one, that Man United will score a goal or two against Arsenal. Unfortunately, whether Arsenal win or not, fingers crossed they do, being a Gunners fan. But yeah, I think that United will score against us. I think there's a bit of a resurgence with United because obviously the way Amorim has come in and decided to get them playing within reason as well. So I don't think we'll see the same old Manu coming up in the next few game weeks. So I expected Man United to score, thus meaning I thought that Fabianski would perform a lot better in terms of West Ham versus Leicester yesterday, but they got battered to a degree. 3-1 was the final score, I think it was yesterday. It was, thankfully, if you can call it thankfully, Fabianski made the 3 saves, which got me an extra point. So I got a 2 from him. I'm expecting, apart from possible saves from Raya, for him to get a 2 today as well this evening at 8:15. Interested to see who will win on that one. So I'm going to put a poll up on X. So check that out if you would. I'll let you know all the social details in a mo. But I expect Raya to not get more than 2 to 3 points today unless he saves a penalty or something extreme happens. So I reckon that Raya and Fabianski will probably end up this game week with roughly the same points. So I'm not too unhappy, but hindsight's a funny thing. And a lot of people say, set and forget your players, regardless of who they play. But Man United versus Arsenal, Man United are a bit of a bogey team for Arsenal, regardless of how well we are doing. The next change I did kick out Dunk. I was concerned by the price predator still am to a degree right this second because he could go down a day or two depending on how he does against Fulham. They got Fulham, haven't they, on Thursday? So I brought in Dragusin, rightfully or wrongfully, as a one-off. I just like the way that Tottenham have been playing to a degree. They're not that open, and they've only really been conceding one goal, and 1 or 2 of those games have been unlucky to concede. So they might well have got a clean sheet. The negative, 1, it's Tottenham. 2, the rival to who I support, which is Arsenal, but that's irrelevant. On top of that, their goalkeeper's injured, isn't he? Vicario's out for a while, so Forster's in goal for them. So whether that makes a difference, probably will. Romero's out, obviously, and Van der Ven also, but Romero might make it unlikely. So it could end up being Dragusin and Davies at centre back again. But they've done okay, apparently. I haven't watched every minute of their matches, but apparently they've done quite well. So Dragusin has come in as a one-off substitute and transfer. I do have the transfer back again. So coming up to the weekend, depending on whether Dunk starts for Fulham and how he does, his price changing might make a difference as to whether I bring him yet back into the team again, because I did like Brighton's fixtures for the next few game weeks. That's half the reason why I brought Duncan in the first place. Probably should have brought Dragusin back in hindsight, but there you go. Anyway, so this is the rest of the team. So Lucas Fabianski's in goal for this game week. He's got 2 points already. Quite a lot going on this evening. We have Man City versus Forest. They'll be on, what time are they on there? 7:30, looks like 7:30. So they're at home. So I hopefully expect Lewis to play and perform well. Colwell's got Southampton. Again, that's another match today at 7:30 on Prime Video. Rodgers, Villa have 8:15 match against Brentford. So I went Rodgers rather than Jorginho very simply because of the home fixture. That's it. Technically speaking, the two of them have been getting scores. I am in the back of my mind thinking Amad Diallo at Man United potentially to bring in if he keeps playing well and keeps performing and kicking out one of those two, possibly, depending on how they go. I know that, as we spoke about a minute ago, Brighton, their fixtures look good. So if Jorginho Rutter keeps playing 60 minutes plus for the next game or two, even though we're coming up thick and fast fixtures, aren't we? During the Christmas period, then I might keep him and kick out Rodgers or vice versa. Again, I haven't decided. It's a bit of up in the air. It's a secondary decision for me behind the defender. All about defenders right this second for me. Johnson is a mainstay, 100%, unless he drops to the bench permanently and doesn't play a minute for the next few matches or injury. Brennan Johnson's 100% shoehorn into the team. Visa naturally has got Villa. So obviously Johnson, by the way, has Bournemouth. We spoke about that a minute. So him and Dragosine are my two Spurs players. They both play on. They've got the last match on the Thursday at 8:15. Visa and Villa, I expect that to have goals in it. Not many, mind you. So hopefully, if Brentford get one, it goes to Visa. Jackson is on fire at the moment, in my opinion. Him and obviously Cole Palmer went for a phase of not scoring for a couple of game weeks, but Jackson was. So Nicholas Jackson, definite. He's got Southampton again. He could be a season keeper in my eyes if he keeps performing and doesn't get injured. He has a match tonight away at 7:30 on Prime. And then we've got the big man who I've seen a lot of comments about Haaland. Should we keep him? Do we get him out? Is he worth? And it's a split right this second in terms of what I've been reading. People saying they're going to keep him. He's going to score at some point. Apparently, the robot's being reset. I think I agree entirely. I think Haaland, it's been half a season. He should have done better, but don't forget he's done well. I mean, forget about what's been happening recently. I know you can't really forget about it entirely, but really he's got 12 goals is not a bad start to the season, really, is it? Admittedly, the majority came within the first few game weeks, first 5 game weeks, but all it takes is one game week, and we're looking at everyone falling over themselves to get Haaland in. He's 15 million. He's back to the price that everyone paid for him at the start of the season. So his starting price. I see absolutely no reason to get rid of him just yet. Just yet, I said. I made that crystal clear. Bench is Raya. Naturally, I sat on the fence with the goalkeeping. I just thought that Fabianski would do better against Leicester. He didn't. Ruud van Nistelrooy's done well in his first match, winning 3-1. Again, Fabianski got 3 saves, so thankfully I ended up with the goalkeeper with 2 at least. Raya, though I love Arsenal, fingers crossed. It's hard when you've got a fantasy team, when you support a team and you put them on a bench and you're thinking, I want Arsenal to win, but I want them to concede, but I want them to win. I don't know. It's such a difficult one. So from a fan perspective, I want Arsenal to win regardless. From an FPL fan perspective, I want Raya to concede, but I want Arsenal to win, and I want Saka to be involved. Saka, Konate and Kwanzaa on the bench, but then was the big decision, wasn't there, really? Captaincy. So Saka has Manchester United. They are at 8:15 kickoff this evening. Mo Salah was my captain choice in the end. I went with the majority. I put out a poll on X, and everyone, basically, I say everyone, that's probably a bit of a lie, but the majority of people went for Mo Salah today just because of his form. I'm assuming you thought, stick with the man, always captain Salah when he's on form. Same goes with Haaland when he's on form. I was toying between all three. It was very close. I just don't think Arsenal are going to thump Manchester United today. I think they will win, but I think it's going to be a 2-1, something like that. I've even said a draw, maybe a 2-2. I don't think it's going to be a 0-0, put it that way. I think both teams will attack. But I also think that Mo Salah is going to score against Newcastle. Whether it's a 1, again, I don't think it's going to be a massive scoreline against Newcastle. They're away. They're at St James's Park. Liverpool have to travel to Newcastle. And Newcastle defensively are okay, but not great. Okay. So I expect Salah to keep his form going. Probably a penalty, I think, in that game maybe, and a goal. So I've put him as the captain. But at the same time, and I said this last week, and I'll say it again this week, Haaland, Nottingham Forest. Forest are stable-ish defensively. They've been much, much better this season. Really, really, really good. Milenkovic has done brilliantly in their defence as well. He's come in, hasn't he? And he's performed really, really well. And we've got, well, it's difficult to say really. Aina is their right back in there. The left back, I'm not sure who it is. It was Alex Moreno, and then it's Nico Williams, and it's one or the other, isn't it really? So, yeah, they've got a bit of an unknown quantity, but Man City play them again at 7:30. So as it stands right this second, if I can get a 4.3 defender, Mikolenko was touted as an option. No. Lewis Hall was out there as well. has that sailed a little bit, that ship? I look at the next fixtures for Newcastle and I think to myself, Brentford could be a draw, maybe a Brentford winning that one. Then I look at them and I think Newcastle have then got Leicester. I expect them to beat Leicester clean sheet. Depends on Ruud van Nistelrooy. Ipswich, I expect to get a clean sheet in that game. But it's Ipswich, isn't it, really? Villa, I expect that to be a draw of some kind. Then the Man United, and we hit the point where then Newcastle start playing some tough teams. Spurs, they have away then. And Wolves, who I think will score against them as well. So I look at the defence, and perhaps it's me predicting, and maybe I shouldn't jump the gun a little bit in that sense, but I just wonder whether Newcastle are not really worth jumping on this second, really. Then there's the Wolves aspect with their option. I think, to be honest with you, what I'm going to end up doing is what I did in the first place, and that is bring in Dunk again and ride the storm of Konate. Konate's price is going to go up and down, up and down. I am going to potentially miss out on Liverpool points defensively. I will put a poll about whether I should get rid of Konate for Gomez, but it would only be a punt. And the problem I've got with that is, if we look at the list price and the details about Konate, well, I brought Konate in when he was a price paid is 5.1. Selling price is 5.2 right this second. He's currently on 5.3. He would need to drop 0.2 points, so 0.2 to 5.1, in order for me to bring him back again when he's injured. So if I brought Gomez in, what I'm saying is either Gomez would need to rise in price for the weeks that Konate's out to match it, or Konate would need to drop so much that I'd end up being able to bring him back in again. Do you see what I mean? Because the budget is tight right this second. I have 0.1, but that's going to go straight back potentially to Dunk or someone else who's 4.4. I'm praying, I'm hoping, that Dunk comes down in price to 4.3, perhaps doesn't play in the match against Fulham, is it? I think it is. Against Fulham away. If he doesn't play or he plays a few minutes, or Fulham score against Brighton, there's a chance that people might keep ditching Dunk a little bit and he drops to 4.3, and then I can bring it back and get that 0.1. That 0.1 might be quite important, because if I get rid of Konate and he drops to 5.1, 5.2, I can afford to bring it back without messing the whole team up with bringing home players that I don't want. So, to conclude, after that lovely explanation, that is the team that I've gone with this game week. Sorry, that's not the team. The team is about to be shown there. That's the team for next week. This is the team for this week. This game week: Fabianski, Lewis, Colwell, Dragusin, Saka, Salah captain, Rodgers, Johnson, Visa, Nicholas Jackson, and Haaland. So what do you guys think of that? Do you think that's a good shout? Have I done all right with that team? I personally think I've done all right with that one. The bench is probably not going to matter unless a player doesn't play. So obviously the goalkeeper's a shoehorn. It's immediate. Fabianski 2 points. Jorginho, Rutter, depends on the midfielders and attackers whether they play. And the two in defence are probably going to be no good. Konate's a definite out. Kwanzaa I've put third just for the sake of it, because I don't see him playing ahead of Gomez. He is merely an enabler, as it's called. So big matches tonight. We're looking at really Newcastle versus Liverpool, 7:30 kickoff on Prime Video, and Arsenal versus Manchester United is, to me personally, being an Arsenal fan as well, that's the big one for me. Can we beat Manchester United? Can we beat a big team and continue, to try and push Liverpool, who are at the top? My honest opinion is Liverpool will just about scrape a win against Newcastle. Arsenal will scrape a win, and it will be a tough watch, I think, this evening against Manchester United. And Man City, I think, will beat Nottingham Forest relatively comfortably. I know that's a prediction and a half. I think you're looking at probably a 2-0. I really do. I don't think Chris Wood is going to score today. I know everyone loves Chris Wood. I'm a fan of his. He's done brilliantly in fantasy. If you guys have got Chris Wood, well done. Because up until now, he has been one of the standout strikers, hasn't he, really? Let's be honest. The standout, him and Cunha for Wolves have been brilliant. And Mbuemo, obviously, as well. Wisa's done quite well. Nicholas Jackson. So there's a couple of players. But to me, personally, in terms of striker, out and out forward, proper sort of old school centre forward, isn't he, really, Wood? Though a lot of his goals do come from penalties, may I add, as well. But yes, I do like Chris Wood. He's done really well for Nottingham Forest. So I think Man City's going to win. I actually think it's going to be no major surprises today. I think Wolves will just about beat Everton. I think Man City will beat Nottingham Forest. I think Liverpool will beat Newcastle. Chelsea will beat Southampton. Arsenal will beat Manchester United, and I think it'll be a draw between Aston Villa and Brentford. So scores: Everton, I think are going to. Do you know? I don't know if they're even going to score. To be honest with you, Everton. I think you might look at like a 1-0, perhaps Wolves, something along those lines. Strand Larsen, I think he's the man to watch at the moment. Haaland will score today. I can feel it in my bones. I really can. I think it's going to be 2-0. Haaland, maybe a Phil Foden goal, something like that, or a surprise defender goal like a Ruben Dias header or something along those lines. I think Liverpool will beat Newcastle 2-1. It depends a lot on Isak if he's back. I've heard he's a doubt for tonight, so if he doesn't play, yeah, I can see maybe a 2-0, a 2-1 to Liverpool, 1 goal for Salah in that one as well, a couple of bonus points maybe as well. And I also see maybe a Luis Diaz goal in that one. Chelsea versus Southampton. Annoyingly, and I'm going to say this because Chelsea is such a yo-yo team when it comes to defensively. I can see them winning, but I can't see them getting a clean sheet. I've got Colwell in. I'm hoping for a clean sheet, but I just can't see it with Chelsea. I'm seeing like a 3-1, a 2-1 to Chelsea. I'm seeing goals for Palmer. Maybe an assist, though, for Jackson. I'd love him to get a goal. I'm praying for a goal because I've got him obviously in my team as well. Southampton, Archer. I've seen him a few times. I like Archer. I do. Cameron Archer. He's the sort of bright spot. Him and Tyler Dibbling are the 2 bright sparks in Southampton's team in terms of attacking. So yes, Arsenal, Manchester United. I see. Well, this one's going to be a 2-1, a 2-2. I think 2-1. I'm going to hope just because I'm a fan of Arsenal. For Man United, that one I can see probably a Fernandes goal, penalty, maybe a free kick, some kind of set piece. Arsenal though. I see Saka involved at least once. I'm not sure goal. I want it to be a goal. Naturally, being an Arsenal fan, I can see an assist more than I can see a goal for him. Havertz, I think, is going to score today as well. Odegaard, I think, will probably get the other than Saka, maybe Saka or Odegaard with the other goals. So 2-1. And then we've got Villa versus Brentford, 1-1. Annoyingly, Mbeumo goal for Brentford, maybe, and again, I'm hoping for involvement from Visa, an assist. Aston Villa, Watkins. Unfortunately, I don't think the idea of me putting Rodgers in is going to pay off, and it's going to frustrate me. And I think I'll just get 2 points from Rodgers today rather than an assist or anything on those lines. So I think it's going to be a 1-1 jobby tonight between Aston Villa and Brentford. And then finally, Thursday's fixtures: Fulham, Brighton, and Bournemouth, Spurs. Fulham, Brighton, 2-1 Brighton. I see them winning. I really do. Fulham, I see scoring maybe a Pereira goal, something on those lines. I don't know if Adama Traore is still playing, maybe a Smith Rowe. I do like Smith Rowe for Fulham. And for Brighton, Welbeck. I think he's going to get a goal today. On Thursday. And I also think maybe Mitoma. He scored in the previous match as well with a lovely header. So I can see Mitoma maybe a Welbeck 2-1 win in that one. And then finally, the final match of the game week, Bournemouth versus Spurs. As much as it pains me to say, I can't see Spurs keeping a clean sheet despite me wanting them to. So there's not going to be many clean sheets this week. And maybe the Man City game might be one of the few games with a clean sheet. Possibly Wolves versus Everton, clean sheet. Crystal Palace got one, so they were quite lucky. But Bournemouth versus Spurs, 3-1 Spurs. I see it being that, maybe 3-1, 3-2, but a victory for them. Evan Nielsen's on form for Bournemouth, even though he didn't score, and he assisted quite a bit in the previous match, so I see him. I wonder about Kluivert. That's right, Patrick Kluivert's Justin. I wonder if he might do something in this game, maybe an assist. Spurs-wise, Brennan Johnson up there with a goal. Son, I see those two do so, and maybe, just maybe, a Solanke against his former club member. Yeah, he's against Bournemouth, so perhaps he'll get third or the second goal potentially in that match. He'll want to. I can picture that already. So, yeah, I see probably a Solanke, Brennan Johnson involved, if not goal assist. Son, again, a goal assist, or maybe both. Bournemouth-wise, Evan Nielsen, and maybe Kluivert potentially involved in that one as well. So that's my predictions for this week. I do, as you can imagine, look at Reddit occasionally and sort of check out what's going on here, the new things that people have been saying. I do keep an eye, as you can see already highlighted, on the price changes. Nothing too major to affect me. I was looking at Timber maybe after the New Year break, but that would mean changing the whole team dynamic. And Buemo's come down in price. Isak's come down in price, but he's still quite heavy on the price side of things. Bowley, I don't think he's going to get back into the Forest team at all. Kufal's an interesting one, actually. He hasn't been playing much for them, but he is a right back, so you never know. Solanke coming down in price is interesting, but again, who do I bring in? Well, it would have to be for Nicholas Jackson, but no. I've got coverage from both Spurs and from Chelsea. So quite frankly, the changes here haven't and won't affect me really that much. Hill's not playing for them. So again, Rashford, I was sitting on the fence with considering Kelleher. I don't get the Kelleher. The transfers in, I think that's mad because you're going to have a bench goalkeeper very soon, if not this week, next week. We've already heard it from Slot. He plans to bring Alisson back in. Nicholas Jackson, good call for those jumping on him. Cucurella is a mad one. Has he done much for Chelsea? I mean, no more than Colwell. And Colwell's 4.5.6 now. Timber I get, but again, I'm an Arsenal fan, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, White's not out forever, you know. Ben White, when he's back, that's it. You're looking at competition at the right back slot, aren't you, really? Gabriel, Saliba, shoehorn. Calafiori looks like he's left side. But he's been coming off early for Zinchenko, hasn't he, really? Not that I think Zinchenko is going to take that place. So I think Calafiori on the left and White, maybe Julian Timber moves over to the left. Who knows? But that's the problem. Who knows? That's the biggest problem. Whenever you say that, it's not set, in stone. And that's a problem for me when you're picking a team, especially you're pumping 5.6, 5.5 million into a defender that for now is playing for Arsenal, but who knows what will happen. So yeah, a lot of criticism for things. So yeah, lots going on, really, lots of comments really about that. The price predictor I'm always keeping an eye on. Dunk is scheduled to go down at some point when, well, who knows with that one. Tonight's big ones are Son, Romero, and that's basically Spurs. That speaks volumes, doesn't it, really, being an Arsenal fan? Wow, Bentancur's going down, which is fair enough. Romero's going down. Son's going down. Becker, Alisson, yeah, I don't know, maybe going down. Horse as well. One thing about Alisson Becker, who might be quite useful, probably not because of his price, really, but one thing we could do when he's back, and I was thinking about this, really, and again, it's me throwing that risk element into things, is you could go Alisson as the goalkeeper instead, and then juggle a bit around, maybe knock him down and get in the Timber or something like that. But again, I've just spoke about how risky the idea of Jurriën Timber is right this second. And then 0.2 down to a 4.1 for Dragusin, something along those lines. And there's a few 4.1s out there, really, that you can bring in. I think, did a Face drop down? I think he did, didn't he? Yeah, so maybe a Face or someone like that. Or, again, I don't think Van den Berg's going to carry on, so Face is probably the best shout, and then have a team like that instead. That guarantees you, for now, an Arsenal and a Liverpool defender. Without having to worry about Canate, will he, won't he? Alisson was doing quite well before he got injured, so yeah, that's an option. I'm just putting out there in terms of things that I would do. You're almost flipping players around just to get X, Y, and Z out, really. So you need a couple of transfers for this one, 3 in total. I have 1. So little things like that you could do. Obviously, there's nothing wrong with Raya in terms of his thing. We could wait on Canate to come back, but we don't know, and knee injuries can be a bit of a pain in terms of how long they're going to take to recover from, and then you'll need time to, for rehabilitation and fitness, get his fitness up. So yeah, so that's the team that, as you can see here, that I've put out for this game week. Let me know what you think. Was it a bad call? Did I waste a transfer kicking out Duncan, bringing in Dragusin? Captain shout seems to be thumbs up from a lot of people, especially on X, who voted Mo Salah as their captain this week. The Brendan Rodgers versus Jorginho is another questionable thing. Let me know what you think. But the biggest one is the goalkeeper. Is that going to backfire, do you think, tonight when Arsenal play Manchester United? Are they going to win by a clean sheet? 1-0 or 2-0? They're going to shock us all. I'd be kicking myself if that did happen. But at the same time, I looked at the fixture. I thought, come on, West Ham versus Leicester. I know it's West Ham. FYI, I hope Lopetegui gets sacked. So I really do. He's doing my head in terms of West Ham. I mean, West Ham, they're a London rival to a degree, but they're just so awkward, aren't they? Sometimes they do well, sometimes they don't. But yes, if Man United lose to Arsenal today and we get a clean sheet against them, then I'll be even more unhappy with Lopetegui. So that is the team. That's who I'll be playing. Let me know, as always, with the socials. I'm on Facebook, AJP85-channel. I'm on X, AJ1985P. I'm on Twitch, A_J_P_A_8_5. And I'm obviously on YouTube, AJ Hardy85. Like, subscribe, and follow. And we'll be special friends, please. And please don't just tick boxes and press buttons. Comment, let's follow each other. If you're Arsenal fans, do it. If you're football fans, do it. If you're fantasy football fans, do it. If you're football manager fans, do it. Because that's the things that I love the most. But otherwise, ladies and gents, I will see you guys at 2:30 and we will discuss game week 15. Yes, we will, because that's coming up on Saturday very soon. Otherwise, take it easy. I'll see you, wonderful people.